really is about keeping people in line. It's not functional. I couldn't be prouder of this Wake Forest crew of coaches and staff who are hosting this NDT, because they are my home, my family, and this year the facilitators of above and beyond call of service to our community. Now later this tournament can collectively appreciate them and acknowledge them if they choose at the end of this process. But man, they got some surprises coming your way. It is pretty amazing. And all this event is brought into focus across numerous years, considerable foresight, because of the most able and humble of directors, Jared Atchison. You will not remember this assembly. You will not remember this assembly. You're probably pretty damn good if you remember who won the last award. Because that's how memory works and how life works. You won't remember me speaking, and you won't remember who won each award, unless it was yourself. And you will without doubt, however, emerge with an abundance of memories from this particular weekend. This is my 33rd NDT, and I haven't been to one in a while. I remember each of them intimately, replete with storylines and lifetime friends, and hell, even down to single arguments. You name a location, and my memory floods with feelings of exhilaration and fear, joy and regret, heartbreak and celebration. Memories over time become embellished and shared, but never altogether disappear. And what is it that we remember? Surely it is some argument in a given round, or what could have been, but the memory of time is the people with whom you shared it. So take a moment, just a moment, to extract yourself from thinking about an argument you might want to block yet tonight, and which I think is highly appropriate, or wonder why these people drone on like myself at the moment. When I have actual work to do, come on, just get the hell out of the room. And to consider the others right now at your table. Just a moment, outside of this competitive juices, which are appropriate, at least to yourself, to thank your coaches who have given so much that you can get here, to thank your partner or think of your partner who tolerated you for the whole damn year. Those relationships and your friends who you forged a lot. That's why you and are happy when people do things, because they're your friends. Those relationships are the memories that last. In the end, they'll be your NDT memories. So while you're here this week, even though you get wound up and uptight and it really matters, it's the most important thing that ever happened, even with that, savor each hour and those around you who fulfill your life. Just remember that a bit. Before introducing John, allow me to introduce Stu Graham, who is here. He's John's better half, as they always use that unfortunate phrase, and a former Wake debater, who probably is more responsible for John's successful career than is his talents or even debate. I'm super pleased that you could be here tonight. It's a distinct honor to introduce to John Graham, the designee for the 2023 Lawrence Tribe Distinguished Alumni Award. But it's also, and that'll be more, it's also fun. Because you see, John's an old Wake debater. And John's senior year was my first year at Wake. I came to Wake as an unknown, from some unknown place in Wyoming. And John, the superstar, had to be more than a little bit skeptical. Hell, I would have been. I would have gone, who the heck's that? He never voiced that uncertainty, always making the best of what was there to work with. I was not very helpful as a coach at that point, but John and the others were helpful in raising me. He was most likely disbelieving that debate season, but he made it work. The next summer, I was honored to be best man at their wedding, actually. And that was pretty cool, but I was still so damn green, I didn't know how you did a toast. But smart enough to recognize good quality people. In 1978, which was my first NDT, and I was going to put a picture up here, but most of you can't see it, so I don't know that it really matters. It's sort of an iconic picture that has, if you haven't seen it, it's worth it. It's one of those iconic ones, in which was my first NDT, as I said, in John's NDT of fame. He was the first team out of prelims that year, top seed. John was a megastar, and I was green, as I said. This iconic picture is from the 1978 Metropolitan State NDT in Denver, Colorado. It illustrates the staying power of the NDT experience, and part of what I hope people remember and attend this weekend. Pictured are two people that are sadly not with us, and you all know John, or Ross Smith, of course, from this picture. What makes it iconic, of course, is that the person that came along and helped out, and largely why it's iconic, is because that damn jumpsuit and the picture of the young Dallas person. I asked him earlier today when I was kidding Dallas, and I saw him, and I said, I'll bet you've been to more NDTs than anybody else in this room. And I said, I bet it's the north side of 50. And he says, oh no, couldn't be. But get add. And he got there. Congratulations. What the picture says to me is how enduring this intense and passionate week is. I know John still golfs with his longtime friend, who was his debate nemesis at that point in their life, and they are now lifetime friends. This award is to recognize the debate alumni who made meaningful contributions to society, and I think John would agree that much of his subsequent career started in some ways with debate, not all of it, but a lot of it. After his Duke MA and PhD at Carnegie Mellon, where his dissertation was on airbag safety, an extension of his affirmative case from college, Dr. Graham joined Harvard Public School of Public Health as a postdoc, and 8 years later he's damn near tenured at Harvard. And he invents the Harvard Center for Risk Analysis, which becomes an international and national hit in terms of policy development par excellence. In that short time, it's recognized all over. An aspect of his career I didn't know, and I was doing a little bit of research, that he was elected president of the Society for Risk Analysis, an international membership organization, about 2,500 scientists and engineers. I bet that's a fun crowd. A group from which he received the Distinguished Lifetime Achievement Award. But the big payoffs were yet to come. In 2001, John was tapped by President George Bush, W, as a U.S. regulatory czar with the Office of Management and Budget. His small office of 50 career policy analysts oversaw all federal regulations for 4 years, every damn thing that went through the country. Federal. Shedding pointless regulations and promoting ones that actually made provable positive impacts became his motif. John's office was located, because I got to visit once, in the executive office building, which was right next to Vice President Cheney's office. And God, I'd like to get some of those stories, but he hasn't shared them. Darn. After DC, John became Dean of the Rand Corporation Graduate School in Santa Monica, California. So my picture of John is, in this era, is at a golf course on some beach in California. There's a little bit of truth to that, but I'll ask Sue how much. In reality, he managed and grew the largest doctoral program in policy analysis in the world. In 2008, John became Dean of the Indiana O'Neill School of Public and Environmental Affairs, which has a debate component, thank you to John. Position in DELO, where you're at. Position which he held for 11 years. The public policy school grew exponentially by nearly every measure possible. In John's tenure, Indiana became the #1 public policy school in the country, #1 out of 270 of them, easing out Syracuse and Harvard in the last years for that top distinction. On a recent note, well, by my account, I think John wrote 15 books on the side here, none of which are kind of important, actually. And on a recent note, I ordered one which was way too expensive. And I would briefly mention, it is titled, The Global Rise of Plug-in Electric Vehicles, Public Policy, Innovation, and Strategy. You got that? The global rise of modern plug-in electric vehicles. That's the kind of book I order routinely, right? It's a 500-page tome, detailed in research and analysis for an audience for those in the know. You can imagine how long the cursory examination of that took. But you'd be wrong. I'll be damned. It was totally absorbing. Data and charts and tales of mines and supply chains, national interests, capitalism pushing the limits. I spent hours immersed in that book, which gives you some idea of the kind of influence he had on an international and national level. I'm pretty sure if you asked John if he would offer that debate was pivotal in his life story and helped him hone the skills that made an incredible career possible, he'd probably say yes. As we said, the journey started with an affirmative, advocating for airbags. With respect, let's welcome and celebrate the Lawrence Tribe Distinguished Alumni Award for 2023, John Graham.